I'm sure you heard about the whole, stumbling blocks I had past few nights of not being able to get the guest on because of the terrible connection.
It's mom life, you know?
Yeah, I know. It is. It truly is. Anyways, how are you?
Good. I'm actually
Y-
doing really good. Um, Ella Grace is just getting to bed now, so we're
Yeah,
having a
Daddy's
late
putting her to
night.
sleep.
Yes, Daddy's
Yeah.
Daddy's usually in charge of putting her to bed, which we'll talk about
Nice.
a little bit later on
Yeah.
some tools to cope, which is that's the preview is
Mm-hmm.
delegating. So
Yeah,
Mama
that's
is
right.
delegating.
I know. And also, just a little teaser for you guys that I do have a giveaway tonight by the end of tonight's
Ooh.
session. Yeah, just a little pick me up for you guys. And also to say how terribly sorry I am for the terrible connection this past few nights. So do stick around with us for the next hour and I will tell you what it is that we're going to be giving away tonight.
Yes.
Yeah, I was just thinking today that I met you over a year ago at Carrie's daughter's first birthday, Shay's birthday.
Oh.
Yeah. And I think that was the last time that we had like a proper full-on conversation. The first time we met,
Yeah.
and I remember just, hitting off right away with you. And then after that, I
Oh.
followed you on Instagram, and I just love all the motherhood stories and, the family stories that you share. They're so real and so positive and so powerful, and they're so uplifting.
Oh, what just
Oh,
happened?
what happened
Hello.
there?
I don't know. I have one of those like holders and it just like fell.
It
Sorry
just
about
took.
that.
No worries. Yeah, so thank you for constantly being, so giving and so open about your life in general.
Oh, thank you so much. That means so much to me. I think being in this space and discovering that like what I really wanted to do was work with mothers. I
Yeah.
realized how important it was to just be real and be vulnerable. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's always going to be a part of you that feels like, oh, but what if I don't fit in? Or oh,
Yeah.
like even coming onto a new audience like this, it's sort
Yeah.
of like, oh, should I go get pretty? Should I go get like, should I put a mask on? Should I like, and I thought, and you sit down and you think about it, and really. Um, what your audience, what every
Yeah.
mama needs to learn is that, hey, e- I'm here. I am like I'm in pajamas and I'm gonna show up
Yeah.
with like my zits because I started putting makeup this week because I had like some interviews
Yeah.
and so like my face is so angry with me and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna show them that like moms get hormones and like it's a mess, right?
I
And
know.
I think unless we have more of these conversations that say
Yeah.
that tell the honest truth, that's
Mm-hmm.
really how we get to connect and how we get to meet each other in hard places and feel supported in those hard places.
Yeah, and that's absolutely beautiful. I mean, even this week, I think I told everyone that I think this whole MCO period is getting to me because I'm also breaking out like all over this region, as you can
Yeah.
see right here. But yeah, anyway, and you know what? I think with this whole MCO period as well, there is you have the ability to see the beauty in everything, in every situation, just like how you share it on your Instagram. And I was thinking about it as well during this MCO period. Yeah, of course, there's beauty into where you can, connect with people again. You get to do the things that you've always said that, I had no time to do, and then now you have all the time in the world to do it. And I don't think I've managed to connect with so many moms and so many friends and family like so much in this past month of the MCO compared to like I don't know the past year. I mean,
Yeah.
despite the whole like the positive things that we can take away from, but it's also pretty darn stressful for a lot of people,
Yeah. Yeah.
not just the working ones, but also the stay-at-home moms because all of a sudden you have all these new
Oh,
roles, right? Like you are a
yes.
teacher now, you have
Yes.
to do homeschooling, and then on top of that, if you don't have a helper, you have to do chores, you have to do the cooking, the cleaning. So now that we're a month in, I'm pretty sure not just you and me, but a lot of people out there, they are like, at boiling point right now. It's like it's overwhelming. We're exhausted. We're giving it all we've got. And it's just,
Mhm.
oh gosh, when is this gonna end? You know?
I
Is it
think,
the same for
yeah,
you? What is it like for you?
absolutely. I think I actually disagree with that. I disagree
Mm-hmm.
that I am able to find the beauty in everything, because there are moments where I'm just like, this sucks. Or there are moments that I panic, or there's moments that I'm anxious. You know,
Yeah.
like with work, with our careers, you know, my half my career is in retail, as in
Yeah.
that's always
Mm-hmm.
been our backup. That's always been the backbone that supports what I do, so that I do get to go be very mindful about the places and spaces that I show up in. Well, you know,
Mm-hmm.
that's been sort of taken away. And then with my speaking engagements, you know, I watched every single one get canceled.
Yeah.
And so am I terrified? Absolutely. Am I scared? Yeah. Am I anxious?
Mm-hmm.
You know, my daughter has a chronic condition.
Yeah.
And so have I been lonely? So very much. You know, has it been hard? Yes. But I think what is important is really the first step is to be able to acknowledge that it hurts, to be able to acknowledge. I think a lot of times what happens is that we're like, oh, I'm mom, and so I need to pretend that everything's okay, because I
Yeah.
don't want them to know that like stuff is not okay. Or
Mm-hmm.
you know, I'm sure for you, you're a public figure, and so like, oh, I have to be like the good role model. I have to remind everybody that like everything's fine, guys.
We
Like, let's
got
go
this.
help everybody, right?
We're super moms.
Yes, and I think that is the danger. The danger
Yeah.
is that you're trying. It's like a pressure cooker, you know. So it's like you're just trying to stuff, and that's when stuff just sort of like. I'll be very honest. The first few weeks, I was so anxious, and that's why I really related to your live the other day with Belle,
Uh-huh.
and I was like, I had an insomnia, because I was just like, I was so anxious, and I was so worried. I was worried, like, where are we going to get groceries, because we don't
Yeah.
leave, we haven't left our house in like 7 weeks.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, we
So
don't.
everything is just
So
online right now? Like they
yeah,
just,
so
yeah.
everything, and then, you know, I don't know if you remember, but like the first few weeks they had stopped all delivery. So
Uh-huh.
then I was really worried, like, where are we going to get even her medicine? How are we going to get, like, do we have enough supplies? So I
Yeah.
would say the first step is just to even just acknowledge the things that I was afraid of. So really
Mm-hmm.
sit down like that. You know, when your cup is empty, usually it's because you're running away. Usually it's
Right.
because you're trying to not deal with the,
Mm-hmm.
am I allowed to say shit? Like, you're trying
Yeah,
to
of
like
course. You
not
can
deal
say
with your
shit if
shit
you
bucket,
want.
right? You're trying to say like, everything's fine, like, you know, you're like
Yeah.
trying to keep it together. You're trying, and so what's happening is like you're literally, everything is like this. You feel it. You don't just feel it like mentally exhausted,
Yeah.
but you feel it
Uh-huh.
in your body. Everything starts hurting,
Absolutely.
or
Mm-hmm.
you're like, you're not sleeping, or you're getting irritable, you're yelling at people for no
Yeah.
reason, or you're
Mm-hmm.
starting to shut down. So you're starting to check out, you're starting to Netflix, you're starting to just, and
Hide.
unfortunately, there's a huge sort of movement that like moms should be drinking, right? And I love a good
Is
drink.
there one?
Yeah, I love
How
a good
come I'm
drink.
not seeing this?
I love a good drink, but the problem
Yeah.
is that like we cannot use our drinks to escape. So it's okay to have
Yeah.
a drink to like, you know, relax,
Mm-hmm.
but let's not use it as a way to then escape, because the more you're escaping, the more that shit bucket's just compiling. And it's much easier to empty the shit bucket when it's like this, rather
Yeah.
than when it's
Like
like
this.
overflowing. And like, you know, I mean, we've all been there, like in our marriages, when like our
Yeah.
shit bucket's full, and that
Mm-hmm.
we're yelling because like you put the scissors in the scissors hole back wrong, and you know it's not, you know, it was like because of like everything wrong he's ever done in his life, you know, and
Yeah.
it just started with something small. And so that's
Mm-hmm.
what we always say, like, you know, acknowledge the hard parts,
Yeah.
acknowledge the things that are, you know, I think even step one is just even identifying that you're stressing out, identifying that you're going crazy,
Yeah.
identifying. I have some notes
Mm-hmm.
on what that looks like when your cup is full, when your cup has
Okay.
like, when there's nothing left in your cup, when your cup is empty, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't always look like you're losing your shit or that you're exhausted. Sometimes it's physical, so it's headaches, tense
Yeah.
muscles, fatigue, difficulty concentrating, trouble falling
Mm-hmm.
asleep or staying asleep. it's doing. So you're checking, like you're constantly doing like
Right.
everything, because you know, you're just trying to, maybe if I work a bit harder, maybe if I make a more perfect lunchbox, everything will be okay. Maybe if I schedule everything perfectly, it'll be okay.
Yeah.
Maybe if my fridge is full, it'll be okay. Maybe if my fridge is perfectly organized, it'll be okay.
Yeah.
Maybe if I can control everything that my husband is doing and my maid is doing and the kids are doing, and like the homework, maybe if I can come up with a perfect activity, everything's going to be fine, right? So
Yeah.
a lot of times it's this
Uh-huh.
obsessing,
Mm-hmm.
cleaning, like, you know, it's like the that's usually mine. It's like I've gone like psycho about like cleaning,
So you're
in terms of like
constantly
what comes
cleaning when
in.
you're stressed?
No, I'm just really particular about like what comes into the house. And I
Ah,
think that
okay.
that's also because of my daughter's condition. It's just, you
Mm-hmm.
know, like it could really kill her, and it could really kill me, because I have a
Yeah.
lung condition too. Or sometimes it's also like acting like nothing has changed.
Hmm.
So a lot of times, like you have these moms that you're like, you know, like somebody has died and they're acting like everything's fine. And you just know that
Right.
like that explosion is coming.
Is that
Or
just
like,
being denial though? Like in
yeah,
denial
yeah,
when you just not
absolutely.
don't acknowledge what's really happening around you?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
because it's too scary. Because
Yeah.
what if I do acknowledge and I don't know? You know, I've already managed to keep it in this container. And what if I
Yeah.
do let it out and then I don't know how to put it back in? Or, you
Right.
know, what if I do cry? Or what if I do have a breakdown? What if I do
Mm-hmm.
get upset? And then, like, I still have, like, you know, I still have Meg's Mash at 9 p.m. So I cannot, today, I cannot break out to, I cannot have a nervous breakdown. Or if I have a nervous breakdown, I will only allow myself to have it in the morning. But like in the
Mm-hmm.
afternoon, I have to just be on go mode. Right?
Right.
And so then you're
Mm-hmm.
like tense. Yeah.
Right.
So it's things like
So
that. Yeah.
all of those things that you've listed are the signs to look out for. Is that right? To sort of
Yeah.
like, check in with yourself, like, am I going through all of these things? But
Yes.
once that happens, is there like an early sign though before, you have to wait till, your body's already like giving up and and you're like you said, your cup is already so empty and your shit bucket is already so full, it's
Yeah.
gonna like explode big time you know? So
You
is
know what
there
your
like,
superpower is as mamas?
what is it?
Is your gut. You
You,
know how you just always know? Like, you know, like 5 seconds before your kid's about to do something, that something's about to go down. Or you know, like when your kid is sick, but nobody else realizes they're sick yet.
mm-hmm.
And like, so there is like this mama gut, right? And so
Yeah.
I know, I am sure that deep within any mamas, like, you know when
Mm-hmm.
something's off, you know when something's just not right. Like,
Right. Eh,
it's that tiny niggling feeling that
mm-hmm.
you just keep trying to like, it's fine lah, it's fine lah, you know?
Correct. I
Yeah.
totally relate to the mama gut thing because I mean, my son's already 2 plus and now I have a new baby. And it's sort of after a while it comes, that, when your kid doesn't nap, he's gonna get cranky later.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know
yeah, yeah.
and but there are new moms who I've spoken to this week actually who
Or
asked
like, it's
me,
broken, I don't know what's wrong, like I don't know, I can't tell.
yeah, like they don't know, like, what do you mean by like God, like, do I not have like maternal instinct that I don't know my child you
No,
know
I think what happens is that we expect it to be loud. We expect it to be a roar. We expect it to, and I think with time it does become, the more you trust it, the louder it
yeah.
becomes.
Mm-hmm.
But think about Meg giving birth the first time, you know, in that hospital room after you've given birth,
Yeah.
and you're like, okay, I have to breastfeed now. I don't really know, like, what do I like? Or maybe it was like
Mm-hmm.
changing a diaper for the first time, and you're sort of
Yeah.
like confused and like, this does not look anything like what the diagram looked like. This does not look like anything like what I expected it was to be. But with time, it got
Mm-hmm.
better. With time,
Yeah.
with practice, listening to that little, it's like, it's always a niggling whisper. It's
Mm-hmm.
always a niggling, like, sort of like prompt, you know, like, do
Yeah.
this. And so it's like I would say, like, for a lot of moms, sometimes it's just like, it's the little voice in the back of your head that says, you need to cool down, or you need to go take a break, or
Yeah.
you need to schedule after. And what we always do is, after this is over.
Mm-hmm.
or after this part, I'll go do that.
Yeah.
After, and because we think that we have to keep it together, not realizing that if we
Yeah.
just gave ourselves that time,
And you know,
that,
I love how you said that because I think I've learned it. I wouldn't say the hard way, but it took me some time to learn that because initially I just wanted to be in control of everything. I wanted to do everything right, especially
yeah,
when I first had my first child. And now with my
yeah,
second, I feel like emotionally I'm just very drained as well because I'm dealing with a toddler and a baby. And
yeah,
just the other night, true story, like my baby just wouldn't, was just up all night, like from midnight all the way to like 4 a.m. And I just couldn't take it anymore. And I felt, and what I did was I even screamed at the baby.
mm,
This is it. I mean, when I think about it the next day, I'm like, am I a bad mom? Like, how could I possibly even scream at a baby, you know? Because I was just so sleep deprived, I was tired, and there was just a lot of emotions going on. And I just screamed at the baby. I put her down. I went to my husband and, like, you go take over. And then my toddler
yeah,
wakes up,
yeah,
calls for daddy, and I'm like, nope, I covered myself. Literally, I took the sheets and I just covered myself. And I'm like, nope, I am
yeah,
not getting
yeah,
involved in this situation right now because I know
yeah,
that I'm not in the right mind space
yeah.
to be
You're
involved.
physically, yeah, I mean, think about it. You're physically exhausted. You're tired. You are
Yeah.
burning on both ends, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of times there's a part of you right now that even wants to say, that wants to make excuses for yelling at the baby, because what kind of mother am I for yelling? What is wrong with me that I yelled at a
Yeah.
baby, which I knew was not like I was being irrational, and that's exactly what it is. That's how all our brains work. You were in
Mm-hmm.
survival mode, and survival was, I can no longer take this. I need sleep. I can't do this anymore. And so
Yeah.
I think it's being able to recognize when you're in those spaces that,
Mm-hmm.
your fight or flight kicks in. And when
Yeah.
your fight or flight kicks in, it's not rational. Similarly and that's why we talk so much of this in respectful parenting for little kids, when they hit, and we're always asking them to, use your words, like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
work it out. Oh, didn't you think about it? No, they didn't think about it because they were
Right.
completely in fight or flight. And just similarly, in that way, you were in fight or flight. So I think a
Mm-hmm.
really important thing to be able to do a lot of times is just, um, again, acknowledging.
Yeah.
So it's making peace with the part of you that feels guilty. It's making peace
Mm-hmm.
with the part of you that feels like you're not being a good enough mother. It's
Yeah.
making peace with the part of you that feels like you've let your family down, making peace with the part of you that feels like you've let yourself down, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do we need to do so Megan can forgive herself for not being at what she thinks she needs to be right now, right?
Yeah. And I
And then
love that
and
you
when we
said
can
that.
do, sorry about it.
I
When
think I might need to
and
get
when
you
we
a new
can,
holder.
I think it's because it's running out of battery. And when we can do that, then we can do things like, really looking at the big picture in terms, what can we do to see if you can get, some help,
Yeah.
because you feel physically drained. You feel like this is a lot on your plate right now. So is there a
Mm-hmm.
way that we can schedule, some rest for you? Or is
Yeah.
there a way that you can feel like a breather? I
Mm-hmm.
think a lot of times, like, so I wrote a few notes, and one of them is connecting. So there's 4 things to do when you're like done, right? So it's
Yep.
connect, limit, prioritize, and nourish. So if
Mm.
you connect, it's connecting. A lot of times people think of connect as connect with your, friends and family
Yeah.
and your relationships, which that is really great. Like, it's really great if you have a mama tribe. It's really good, great if you have a husband that supports you. It's really
Yeah.
great if you've got family and friends or helpers that can help you. But there's also a huge percentage of women that don't. There's a huge percentage of women that don't have a mama tribe, that don't have
Mm-hmm.
safe spaces, or maybe they have lots of friends, but they don't know, but these friends aren't really friends, maybe. you
Yeah,
know?
or they even
Like,
understand what you're going through, right?
yeah, or like sometimes you feel like, I'm just gonna put you guys here. Sometimes you feel like you can't be vulnerable.
Yeah,
Is it okay?
yeah.
Is that better? Sometimes you feel like you can't be vulnerable in those spaces. So then how do you connect? And I think also it's important to say, connect back with your body.
Mm-hmm.
So when was the last time you, because you know, a lot of times we think connecting with our body is taking a bath or go for a massage, go for a
Yeah, yeah.
spa. And like, do you ever, I feel like sometimes that's not what I need. I'll go
Mm-hmm.
for a massage and like my brain is going like at 5,000 miles an hour, and that's not what I need, because all I'm thinking is like, after I do this, I need to go be able to cook, and
Yeah, I feel you though, because
yeah.
I love my massages, but there are times when I'm in a massage and I'm unable to fall asleep because I have all these thoughts in my head. Like, okay, oh, when I'm done with massage, I'm gonna go do this and do that.
Yes. And I think it's important to then ask, like, because I think we're losing the first part, which is connecting back with ourselves and asking, what do I need right now? What does Megan need right now? And
Uh-huh.
if you just take a second, take a deep breath, and just think, like, what do I need right now? Do I need rest? Do I need a nap? Do I feel like I'm being stretched too far in lots of places? Is there something that I need to do? Connecting back to your body is sometimes also like, when was the last time you just moved? You know, like
Right.
intuitively moved or stretched your body, or there's a thing that we like to do in our house, and it's called dance party.
Oh, I
And
love
it's
that.
literally, yeah, you turn on some music, and it can be fast music or it can be slow music. You turn on some music and you just move, and you intuitively move. So you don't care. We've gotten to the point where like we just make a fool of ourselves, right? But just
Mm-hmm.
allowing your body to move, allowing those endorphins to come out, allowing yourself to just stretch it out. Like so many times we're sitting hunched over like this, and then
Yeah.
if you even just do this, or if you even just do this, how much better do you feel already? So connecting back with your body is so important. Connecting back with your mind is so important. Connecting back to Megan's heart space, right? What does Megan need right now?
Mm-hmm.
And then the second part, which is the more important part, is limit. So it's
Right.
what do I need to limit? A lot of times we are saying yes to too many things. And so it's
Mm-hmm.
learning to say no to something so that we get to say yes to the best parts of it, right? So, you know, it's like, I'm sure for you, you want to be able to, like, you get a limited amount of time with miles, right?
Yeah, Mal.
Yeah, you get a limited amount of times in miles. And so for the moments that you do get with miles, you want to, for every mom's desires is that, like, for the moments that I do get with that, it's going to be quality time. It's going to be time to bond. It's going to be time to connect. But if I'm so busy saying yes to everything else, by the time I get down with him, I'm too exhausted to play. Or I'm too
Right.
irritated. My shit bucket is too full. Like, I'm really annoyed right now. You know,
Yeah.
I'm here, but I'm not really here.
Mm-hmm.
So then it's, what can I say no to?
Mm-hmm.
And really taking the time to examine that.
Mm-hmm.
And the other part about saying no is also putting in some boundaries sometimes. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes there's places that completely drain us. And so noticing your energy sometimes, like maybe it's the people you hang out with, or maybe it is social media. Maybe it is, I think with a lot of COVID news right now, it's learning to
Yeah.
say, I will not read any more news that's going to depress me, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And it was really being mindful for me, giving myself like 10 minutes a day that I would go read the news and realize that
Yeah.
the world was like ending. And then after that, for the rest of the day, because it's not healthy, or at least for me, it wasn't healthy. And it like, you know, like I did leave a lot of WhatsApp groups because it was just like,
Mm-hmm.
it was non-stop doom and gloom.
Right.
And no
Because you
matter
go to
how
bed.
happy you are.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
go to bed and you wake up and there's like 500 messages
Yeah. Oh, and it's 500 messages of how like the world is like
ending.
ending,
All
right?
the conspiracy theories and
Yeah.
stuff.
So
Rachel, I can hear my echo. Maybe you might need to move the the phone a little bit. That position earlier was way better. Yeah.
yeah, I know this
Yeah,
is
I think
better
this
lighting. but I was like, there's nothing to profit.
Yeah, because I could hear myself like echoing from
Is this better?
your side. Yeah, I
I'll
think
move
so.
it.
Let me try. Okay, great.
Ta-da!
Yeah,
Yeah, so
better.
it's, I think, so if we even go step by step,
Mm, mm,
one is connecting back for you. I
yeah.
guess it's what, if I had to ask you, what do you need to hear right now? What does Megan need to hear right now?
That I'm enough.
That you're
And I
enough.
think I told myself the other night when I was lying in bed after, after the episode that I had screaming at my daughter. And then
Yeah.
the next day, I'm lucky enough that I'm able to connect with my husband. So I immediately, whatever I'm feeling, and he checks in on me. Like he would ask me, "How are you today?"
Yeah.
And I'm lucky enough that I have the outlet, or even my sister, who's just now, I guess, a phone call away or a text away, that I can just connect with her, and and so yeah, and just that was what I told myself that day. Like I just told myself that I am enough, because a lot of times I felt like, because going back to what you said about saying yes to certain things and saying no to certain things, and in those situations, I felt like sometimes, if I said yes to work over playing with my toddler, does that make me a bad mom? You know?
Yeah. Yes. And it changes. And that's the thing. It's that I think we want to be able to control it in saying that this is what it's going to look like today, and this is
Yeah.
but we're not realizing that stuff happens and shit happens, and we're in the middle of a global pandemic, and there's going to be times like that. I would love, my daughter just told me today, and she said, Mama, I haven't played with you in a while. And I sat and I thought, I haven't played with you in a while because I've been so busy cooking and cleaning. I'm the cook. Like if Mama doesn't cook, like there's no food.
No one gets to eat, yeah.
Yeah, but it was having her verbalize it, and I said, I am so sorry. Let's sit down. I said, what would you like to do? And she said, I would like to play Magnetos. And so we sat down and played Magnetos. And I'm with her 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But it's realizing that, I can do the dishes later. Or that tomorrow we're going to have leftovers because we're going to make it a day to play. And so
Right.
tomorrow I'm going to choose her over work, because and that was part of it, because every day this week I've worked,
Yeah.
and part of my work is that we go, now we're doing all these lives, right? And so
Yeah.
when we're doing all these lives, it's telling her she has to stay in her room, she has to go, she has
Play
to
with daddy or
yeah. And
yeah.
so it's sort of like, and even before a live, even before an interview, it's prepping, it's making sure, like,
Mm.
I like, what am I talking about, because I'm so tired, honey. That's all.
Yeah.
Like, what are my points today? And so on those days I chose work,
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't have a choice. I still have
Yeah.
to put food on the table, right? I still have to say yes to, and so some days I have to say yes to work. And I think it sounds terrible to say not being apologetic about it, but to realize that different days will have different priorities. And so consistently, if you consistently make a choice to show up in your child's life,
Mm-hmm.
that is far more important than that one day that you spend completely with them and then all the other days you don't. So
Yeah.
I think it's just sort of, it's this elusive balance that I think a lot of times moms will say, what is the formula for like dealing with mom guilt? What is the formula for work-life balance?
Mm-hmm.
And the honest truth is there is no formula. And the honest truth is if you show up at work, you are going to be not showing up at home. And when
Yeah.
you show up at home, something's got to give at work.
Mm-hmm.
And when when you show up in your marriage, and that means something else has to give, right?
Yeah.
In terms of work. But I think what matters in those moments is creating this tribe, creating this community, because for me, when I show up at work,
Mm-hmm.
thankfully I have a husband that checks in with her. Thankfully I have, outside of COVID, I have
Yeah.
parents that take care of her, a school that loves her,
Mm-hmm.
um, we have babysitters that, you know, are so for her, and it's not mama, but
Yeah.
it's the best that I can give right now. So I think for
Mm-hmm.
you, it's I think the mistake that moms make is we say that we have to give up our dreams. And the mistake that we make is that we say, you know, just I travel a lot for work.
Yeah.
And, you know, do I feel guilty some days? Absolutely, especially when she's sick. Because, you know, they always get sick when you travel. They never, like, there's always some crisis when you
Yeah.
travel. Like, it's like really? So do I feel guilty? Yes. But I also hope that her seeing Mama works reminds her to pursue her dreams, you know?
Mm. I love
Um,
that.
and her seeing me work hard, relentlessly, showing up for mothers, showing up for community. The other day, we've been loving on some neighbors. We help cook food for neighbors, and like, you
Mm-hmm.
know, actually just yesterday, it was really interesting. My husband and I were talking about giving. There's a charity down the street from us who I'm gonna cry. They're feeding 100 over kids who don't have enough food, literally don't have enough food. And so I said, hey, would you mind if I just buy these 2 giant boxes of apples? And I said, I think it's like we bought like 500 apples. And I said,
Mm-hmm.
apples are such a luxury at this time. So, you know, it's
Yeah.
just my husband and I having a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And later on, I can't remember why, but like we were talking to my mom, and out of nowhere she says, yeah, and then we bought some fruits because the kids have to survive and they might die, and fruits are a luxury. And you know, it's like just this little things that they pick up.
Yeah.
What she's learning is that we take care of our community. We don't leave
Mm-hmm.
one behind. You know, that's what I'm
Yeah.
hoping that she's learning through this, because, you know, does it cost us? Yeah, when we have no income, this absolutely costs us. But
Mm-hmm.
big picture, what is she learning? Big picture, you know, kita jaga kita, we don't just say it, but you have
Yeah.
to live it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it
That's
starts with being at
amazing.
home. Yeah.
Yeah. And I love how it's all about, you know, when it comes to your kids, you really do have to kind of lead by example, because even though they don't say it, but they're really watching you.
Absolutely. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, you will notice all the bad things that you do. But hopefully, you also notice all the great things that you do. And the problem as moms is we remember all the bad stuff and we
Yeah.
forget all the good stuff. I think as moms, sometimes we
Mm-hmm.
forget to celebrate the little wins, you know? Like
That's
just the
true.
little ones, the fact that like the other day we celebrated that we made it 30 days in quarantine. You know, it's little things. It is sometimes it's saying yes to that extra ice cream. Why? Because it's Wednesday. You know?
Just
Yeah,
cause.
I mean, I think yes, absolutely. It's important to have routine, but
Yeah.
it's also important to enjoy the little things. And I think
Yeah.
as moms, like, you know, we get so overwhelmed because we've stopped celebrating, we've stopped finding joy, we've stopped like giggling. You know, when
Yeah.
was the last time you
We
giggled because you
yeah,
were
we
amused?
stopped being a kid because we feel like we have to be that responsible adult person
Yeah,
and just to take
yeah,
care of everybody. But yeah,
yeah.
I love that you mentioned that, because I just watched something yesterday and it says, ordinary moments can breathe happiness. So we're
Yes,
always
yeah,
looking for big moments, a celebration or a big achievement to celebrate. But like you said, I think even those tiny, tiny little moments, those matter too,
yes. And I think more
right?
so than that, it's like we've stopped giving ourselves permissions to make
Hmm.
mistakes. You know, as moms,
Yeah.
you stop giving yourself permission to like screw up every once in a while. I almost said a really bad word.
It's okay. No
You
kids are watching right now. It's
yeah,
me time.
yeah, just in case. I was like, oh, how serious are we here? Is this like a we've stopped giving ourselves permission to say, I might really screw this up.
Yeah.
You know, but it's gonna bring me a tremendous amount of joy, right? The other day,
Hmm.
my daughter said, "Hey, Mama, you tried something new, and that was very brave. That was really hard,
Wow.
but that was very brave." And you know what it was? It was me cutting her
What was
hair. I was like, I was terrified. I was like, this is halfway through. I was like, this is a terrible, horrible idea. But she had like, so she was like, Mama, will you please cut it? It's really in my eye. It's really bothering. I know you can do it. So I start cutting, and then I'm like, literally,
Uh-oh.
it's like this, and I'm like, oh crap, like this
No backing out now.
right? And I was like, Ella Grace, I was really like, I did not want to do it. And she's like, yeah, I know you did not want to do it. I was like, yeah, I was really scared, but it was something new.
Yeah.
And you know, it's something that we tell her all the time. We say, you know, but if you don't try, you don't know, right? And what's the worst that can happen? The worst that can happen is just a shitty haircut for like a month. You're not going anywhere. But I think it's in little things like little choices like that, where you make the choice to like show them that vulnerability, show them that I was scared. Because I think a lot of times as mom, you feel like, I have to pretend like I know exactly what's going on. I have to pretend like I know everything. And what that does for a little kid is it teaches them perfection.
Yeah.
It teaches them
I
don't
completely
ever
agree.
screw up. It teaches them don't ever make a mistake, because my mom never made a mistake. I think a lot of times, like even like marriages, I think this is like the hardest time for any marriage. And so the other day
I was just gonna get into that, about how this is like the hardest time for marriages, because you know, during this whole situation, this whole period of time, we're all forced to be in the same house. Before this,
and
everyone's
you
got their
don't
own
get a
thing.
break.
Yeah, everyone's got their own thing going and stuff, but now everyone has to come together 24/7, work out a whole new plan that works for everybody. So you know what's that? How are you doing it? Because I know you work as well, and I'm sure before this whole
My
MCO,
con call is more important than your con call. So
exactly. So, and you got all these emotions running high. I will be completely honest. The first, even for us, I mean, I like to think that my husband and I work very well as a team. When it comes to parenting and all, we got it on, you know, lockdown. But then now, when the whole MCO period started, the first week I think we were just, you know, taking turns to be in such a bad mood. And when one person's productive and the other one's not, and then, you know, stuff like that, and it'll be so snappy at each other.
Like,
and then
my husband and I have had like epic fights. Like, and like I shared this on Instagram the other day, because the other day somebody was like, oh, you guys have such a great love story. Like your husband's so patient and you're like just so in love with him. Like, look, I love the dude, but like we're still human. Like, and so I did this live because I was like, because we did this questionnaire, and we're like, what's been the worst fight? What's been the best? Like, what's the thing you've learned the most? And I think again, it goes back to being real, being honest, and being saying like, we are in a global pandemic. Like I have no knowledge of what we're supposed to do. We have seen each other like 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We are both terrified about our jobs. We're both terrified about like, I mean, it was sitting down and saying, do we have enough money to pay for our kids' school for the entire year? You know, because international school is you know, half your. I'll sell my kidney. And so it was like sitting down, having these conversations, and I think more so than anything, it was a lot of times, you know, what we talk about is like, this is the iceberg. Right. So this is the scary part. This is like the anger. This is the frustration. This is the me taking it out on you. But then if I go down to the bottom of like what I'm really, really scared of, and if I talk from that space, that vulnerable space of really being raw and really being honest, I feel like I'm not enough. I feel like I don't know what I'm doing. I feel like I'm just scared. You know, and then you can meet each other in empathy. You can meet each other vulnerably. You can meet, because, you know, a lot of times, like in this space, it's all ego. In this space, it's all like, you didn't do this, and my work is more important, and I'm doing all the cooking. What are you doing? You know, like, it was like, there was one day, like, legit, we were fighting over fruits. Like we were fighting over fruits, and I just like, and we sat down.
We've lost it.
Yeah, we have lost it, and we both started like, oh my gosh, like, and the good thing about us is like we really do truly love each other. So after a good fight, we usually like, he will have like a peace offering, and I have a peace offering, and
you can have the fruit.
Yeah, like we'll sit down and talk about it, and
I love it.
I
Yeah,
think
and I
more
love that
so
you
than that
said
we
that.
talk
Yeah.
about what the fruit was, like why did it mean so much to me, what I was hearing, what was the misunderstanding, you know, like earlier I said
Yeah.
what did I say, it was the like when it it's like everything you've ever done wrong, you know.
Yeah, exactly. We're
It
so
had
good at,
nothing to do with the fruit. Yeah.
especially women, we're so good at compartmentalizing everything, and we can just search the archives and just like throw it at you, all the stuff
Yes,
that you've
yes.
done wrong in the past. But yeah, I love what you said about, just talking it out, and from a vulnerable position and just laying it all out and communicating. That is so, so important because
And I
I
think,
think,
but like, so the other thing that I want
yeah.
to say about that is that being really respectful about where the other person is too. So
Mm,
whenever we have one of these like hard conversations, it's like, you know, as women, I don't know,
yeah.
maybe that's a bit sexist, but like for me, it's like, I always want to go fix it now, right? And
Right.
like my husband's a lot more like, I need to calm
Chilled.
down, I need to
Uh-huh.
think about it. And then, so like, it's taken me, we've been together 10 years. So it's taken me 10 years to learn to say, is this the right time that we can talk right now? Do you have space for us to talk right now?
Mm-hmm.
Because like if he goes into this conversation already defensive, already like,
Yeah.
like I don't like, I'm like, no, like, you know
Mm,
what I mean? And then what we do is like we push, 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 push. Like, no,
mm,
you
mm,
talk to
mm.
me right now. You tell me what's the problem. Like, why are you angry? I know you're angry. Tell me why you're angry.
By the way, it's not a woman thing because
Yeah.
I'm like your husband. I don't need
Oh,
it
you're the
fixed now.
opposite.
Yeah, I'm the
Yeah. Okay.
opposite of
Yeah.
you. I
Yeah.
my husband is you. Like he
Yes.
wants it fixed now. Like,
Yes.
deal with the emotions now. Confront now. And I'm just like,
And
oh
isn't it
no, I'm
so
gonna,
helpful if he
yeah.
says, Megan, do you have space to talk about this right now? And you say no, and he respects it. And
Yeah.
what you're going to do instead is like, actually, then he says, will you have time later for me? Can you find some time
Mm,
later for me? And
mm-hmm.
then, but you,
Yeah.
so like your promise to him is that you will
Yeah.
come find him,
Yeah.
and not just like run away.
Why?
You're like,
It's like,
oh,
oh,
got away
pretend like
with
nothing
it.
happened. No, but because the thing is like, yeah, which is so, I'm glad that we brought this up as well, because I think throughout this period of time, everyone's just thinking about the kids. Parents who
Yes.
have kids. Like, okay, what do we do with them every day? Mini projects that we're gonna do today, tomorrow. Should we make a pancake? Should we make Play-Doh? But we forget
I'm
that,
exhausted just listening to that.
yeah,
I'm like,
exactly.
parents, you guys need to chill. Like, stop. Just
Yeah.
stop.
So it's good to, check in on each other as partners as well, who
Yeah.
are, if you have the privilege of being stuck together at home at this period of time and you still need to work, then, you have to sort of create a new routine, like a new norm, get into
Absolutely.
the new rhythm of things so that things work out better for everybody.
Yeah, one of the biggest things we did that I think really, really helped all of us was, we went to quarantine like before we went to court. I literally got off the plane, came in, and immediately like her medical team was like, I don't think you should be taking her out. And I was like, oh
Yeah.
crap, okay. I was like, I'm unprepared. I literally got off the plane, like I have nothing in my fridge. He was like, I can't go on quarantine. And they were like,
Yeah.
no. And I was like, okay, I guess we'll listen. And so one of the big things we did was we then sat down and we said, okay, we're about to go into this and we don't know how long we're going to be in it for.
Mm-hmm.
And we may even go beyond MCO. And so one of the big things, we had like a family meeting.
Yeah.
And we asked, which included Ella Grace, we included my
Mm-hmm.
child, and said, what is important to you? So what are some of the things that would be very important to you while we're in quarantine? So for my husband, he said having quiet time to work every day.
Okay.
And so then we made sure that would happen. For me, it was making sure that like when I'm making a meal, I really need you to step it up. I really need you to be taking care of her, because like I cannot like be thinking about cooking and like worrying
For
about her
safety.
and like
Yeah.
not so much her safety, but like usually for kids before dinner time, like they start getting
Yeah.
hungry. So they're like a bit cranky, and they're
Okay.
getting ready to go for bed. And, it's been a long day, so they want to connect with you, and
Yeah.
so I said, like, I really need you to be present and on at that time and not at work.
Yeah.
So, and then for her, it was the cutest thing. She said, I want, Mama, can we have a morning meeting and a night meeting? And so
Wow.
at school, they have a morning meeting and a night meeting. And so the morning meeting, we talk about what's going to happen in the day. So for her, it was so many things that she didn't understand. So for her, understanding what day it was and what we were going to do today, like that made her feel control in all the things she couldn't control. And like, so the night meeting for her then was like a debrief. Like, so we always ask three favorite. What's something that made you happy, something that made you sad, and
Yeah.
something that you're grateful for.
I like that. I'm gonna steal
yeah.
that because I always
Yes,
ask about the
please
happy
do.
part, and then I'm realizing now that
It's
sometimes we
so
have to
important to
focus
ask
on
about the
other
sad.
emotions too. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's so important.
quickly, I'm just gonna read out a question right here. Is it all right to connect with my child while doing house chores? For instance, getting them to
Absolutely.
peel garlic skin, stirring a bowl of flour. I
Yes.
say
I
yes
mean, if
too.
you've ever been on my Instagram, you know that my child, basically all of MCO, what she's done is done lots of house chores. It's actually such an important life skill. So part of why we don't have a helper right now is because my husband and I made a decision the start of last year,
Yeah.
that we would move to a condo because we were in a like multi-generation household. We had
Yeah.
like three helpers.
Hmm.
It was great. Like there was a pool that, like, I mean, now I'm like, oh, man, I really wish I was quarantined there because there's lots of help.
Yeah.
But we had made a decision last year that we were going to move to like a little apartment, not have any helpers, and start giving her life skills. And the reason for that was, did you study abroad?
No, I didn't. Here all the
Okay.
way. Mm.
So like for me, I was telling my husband, I said, I went abroad when I was 16 and I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know how to do my own laundry. I didn't know how to balance checkbook. I didn't know how to cook. I didn't know
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know how to do anything. And I was too old. I was too embarrassed to ask anybody. I was
Like,
like, they would
where do
just
I put
make
the
fun of me.
detergent?
And it was like America, so like where everybody's like independent. They've learned how
Yeah,
to do
yeah.
this since like,
Because they
and I was
moved
like,
out like at 18 or
yes,
something,
and
right?
I already felt like I stood up like a sore thumb because I'm like the Asian, and then like I didn't want like on top of that the stigma of being, oh, you're so spoiled,
Yeah.
and I just was like, I will never do that to my child, like I was like, and to my parents' credit, they did it because they loved us, like
Mm-hmm.
they wanted us to focus on our studies, they wanted us to not have to worry about like don't get your hands wrinkly and dry like they are now because
Yeah.
don't touch the soap, don't touch the iron, don't touch, it was all these
Mm-hmm.
things, but like as an adult, I realized how much I didn't know and how much I wish somebody would have taught me
Yeah.
important skills like that. So I would say absolutely, please involve that. And like they can actually help out quite a bit. Like Ella Grace helps me out a lot, and
Yeah.
it's so great. And like all the parents that are doing lots of activities, I mean, like, great for you, but like my activity right now is I filled up a facial mist bottle
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't want to give her the big one because I'm like, everything's gonna be wet. So I just gave her like a little spray
Oh,
bottle.
that's
I
smart,
gave her,
actually. Yeah.
sorry?
That's so smart.
Yeah, just a little bottle. Yeah, not big
Yeah.
bottle. Come on, guys. We gotta be strategic and smart about this. And
Yeah.
then I gave her a cloth, so she's been like wiping my
Wiping
windows. It's
everything.
great.
Oh,
Yeah,
awesome.
she like mops the floor, and she actually does a really good job because the more they practice, the better they're
Yeah.
gonna get at it.
Very nice.
Yeah. So
And we
yay,
only have like 10 minutes to go, so perhaps you could probably just give us like advice to moms or parents out there who are struggling during this period of time. I know it's been a month and we've got about how many days to go? 11, I think. 11 days to go.
I honestly lost count like the second week.
Yeah, me too. I
I
I
don't
stopped
even know what
counting.
day it is.
It's Friday, by the way.
Yay! Which means nothing.
So yeah, I mean, for those who are struggling to, you know, to fill their cup right now, what would your
Yeah.
advice be if they're, you know, like just every day I just wake up and I'm like, oh gosh, it's another day in quarantine and I've got like a ton of things to do and you know, my kids are always in my face and my partner's not compliant with whatever it is that I'm asking him or her to do.
I would say, I think the most important thing I would say is don't forget about you. I think the
Mm,
problem right now is that you're forgetting about you and you're thinking that you don't matter. And you're thinking that like, you know, mama, you know, what's our instinct as mamas when there's like one more piece of pie left? We say, oh, we're not hungry. And so then we go without, right?
yeah,
Or and that's the problem is we keep going without. And I think the first thing I would say is that it's not wrong to choose you because you can't pour from an empty cup. And so I think, like, when was the last time you drank a cup of water, Mama? When was the last time you sat down and ate some really good food? Not the like bits and ends that your kid or husband didn't want to eat, but when was the last time you made something just for you? So I think that's so important. The other thing that I feel is so important is I think also to prioritize. I
yeah,
think the problem is like we have 5,000 things on our list that we feel like have to be done, and they don't. They don't have to
mhm,
be done. What's
yeah,
important in this time is you. What's important in this time is your child. What's important in this time is your marriage. And
yeah,
so I think really sit down and prioritize and say, at the end of this, I think that's a question that my husband and I have been asking, and that has really helped keep our focus is how do I want to remember this time?
hmm.
And what do I want to be remembered for during this time?
Wow,
And that has
very
really
powerful
sort of
words.
like changed everything for us, you know, because it's really kept us focused in terms of like what we say yes to
Hmm.
and where we say yes to,
Hmm.
what we say no to, what we have to say no to. It's
Hmm.
really made us think about like, you know, like buying those apples for those kids down the road.
Yeah,
Uh, I want to be remembered, not that I was very efficient, not that I was the best teacher. I want to be remembered that she loved. She loved on those kids, that she mama those kids, that those are the things that I want to be remembered for. And I think I'm going to read you this quote, and it says,
okay.
"You are loved. You are loved, even if you do not feel like yourself right now, even if the dark has made a home within you. Even when you doubt, even when you feel like the world does not quite understand the depth of your circumstance, you are loved and you are worthy of that love."
That's absolutely beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh my
Megan,
gosh.
I am so proud of you of like what you've created. And it's okay to take a break and it's okay to say it's a lot of so much on your plate. And it's okay to grieve that it didn't quite go the way that you thought it was going to go. And like, you know, it's hard. It's hard building things from scratch. It's hard feeling like you're messing up all over the place. And it's hard feeling like this is not where you thought your 2020 was going to be. This is not where you thought your motherhood was going to be. You had big dreams for what you thought being mom of two was going to be
Yeah,
like. And so it's okay to say, I'm just going to take a deep breath.
I need to take a deep breath right now.
Yeah. And it's
Thank you.
okay.
Thank you so much for that. That's absolutely beautiful and I hope that whoever's watching right now that that it resonates with you as well. All these things that Rachel is saying right now. And thanks for that. I mean, I really needed to hear that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
really
we
did.
all need to hear that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Bye.
so much. Bye.
Bye.